Excon has always been big for y'all, and we've had a pretty warmed up session earlier. So I'll dive right into it. How are you taking the momentum gained last year for this whole agenda or aim of introducing affordable mechanization in CVs? How are you blending it with this year's objective at Excon?
So, Ashish, you would recall that last year we had introduced the 2-axle grader.
Yes.
So, subsequent to the launch of 2-axle grader, we have really upped our game as far as the grader is concerned.
Right.
So, today, and I'm talking about the first 8 months of performance. Today, in the first 8 months, we are the India's largest grader manufacturer.
Right.
And we have a market share of 25.3%, and we are the highest grader seller market. And we anticipate the graders to keep on increasing.
Right.
So grader TIV this year, we anticipate that by the time this year ends, the grader TIV will be up by about 20 to 25% over what it was in F23.
Right.
As compared to backhoe, which will be up by about 15 odd percent. So the grader TIV with most of the money, if you look at the focus of Government of India, there is money which has been put on Sagarmala, Gati Shakti, the affordable housing, everything is there. But in terms of quantum of money, I think the maximum quantum of money is allocated for the road development.
Yes.
And wherever road development is there, Road Master comes into picture.
Right.
And that's where the grader story is. So we are fairly upbeat on the grader story going forward. And it's just not the national highways or the golden quadrilaterals, etc. Now the focus of the government is to link the rural areas, the tier 3, tier 2 cities, etc. So we are as a company very, very bullish on grader. Is the reason in CV5 range also, we are not dropping any of the grader product. In fact, we are only strengthening it and improving upon the horsepower that we can offer to the customer.
So let's touch upon the flagship displays at Excon this year. You have the graders lined up. You have your tipper with the Endura badge lined up. So a word on what are the key launches for this year at Excon, and then we'll go into how they contribute into your revenue as well as the overall CV segment.
Sure. So there is one philosophy that we have always followed. In displays like this, at Excon or be it any such display. The philosophy that we have followed is that whatever we display has to hit the market within a year or at best 18 months.
Right.
There is no point displaying something
and
that
holding it back.
That may not see the light of the day, or which is still at a concept stage or whatever.
Right.
So giving with this background that I gave you, the three big things that I want to talk really about is, first is the CV5 range, which if the regulations don't get postponed, then in the month of April, you will see this particular range on the road, right?
Okay.
And we are displaying our 74 horsepower backhoe loader,
yes,
which is our bread and butter flagship model, right? Which we sell. The second product we are displaying is the 100 horsepower grader.
Right.
Now, in BS4, the grader is 95 horsepower, but in BS5, we are upping the horsepower to 102, so we are calling it G100.
Okay.
So what we are displaying over here are our bread and butter mainstream products for CV5 range, right? So that is one. The second one is the Endura tipper, which officially is launched in Excon.
Okay.
There are already 100 plus Endura tipper which are running across the country as part of our seeding program.
Okay.
Because we wanted to gain feedback, etc., etc.
Right.
And today we are officially launching that particular product over here in Excon.
Right.
So these are the two things. The third product, which is a concept, but it is not really a concept, and I'll come why, is the haulage tractor mounted compact crane.
Okay.
So haulage tractor as a platform, is an extremely versatile platform.
Right.
Right now the product which is on display, it comes with 50 horsepower engine, which is our own engine.
Right.
It can have a 91 horsepower, it can have a 74 horsepower. So it's a multiple engine options are possible.
Right.
What the product you see right now has just a canopy for the driver. This particular product can be fitted with a proper HVAC cabin.
Right.
So there are multiple applications. So one of the application which I think we have aced in South Africa as a continent, and Kenya to be very specific, is sugarcane application.
Okay.
So this product was used for sugarcane application. Now we are trying Brazil because Brazil is a very big sugarcane market. The other application which we have displayed over here is that of a compact crane.
Okay.
So usually you will have crane mounted on the trucks, but we have tried to do for a off highway and those kind of roads, maybe this kind of application will be
Will click over there.
So the idea is, having developed a platform called a haulage tractor platform, what are the various application we can use so that this remains the platform and the other application can be mounted on this. So these are the three big things. Balance, everything that you see are all recently introduced. So 6KL fuel bowser on Furio 10,
Okay.
right? Optimo tipper.
Yes.
So the idea is that whatever we display, the go-to market has to happen within 12 to 18 months.
Right,
So
right.
that's what display aspects
You mentioned that you take great pride in the fact that you've taken the lead to be ahead of the curve, even at CEV5 level,
Yeah.
because not much of the market has come up there. Word on
Yeah.
that, please.
Yeah. So actually, it's both a conscious decision and also I'll say a necessity for a player like us.
Right.
Unless we don't disrupt the market, right? I mean, you don't fight competition on competition strength, right?
Right.
So traditionally, our approach has been. So I'll just take a couple of examples.
Sure.
In truck and bus, we came with this mileage guarantee.
Yes.
That any load, any application back to back with the competition, if you get a better mileage, then ask, we will take your truck. We will take our truck
Yes.
back, right?
Yes.
And that guarantee is going on for last 7 years,
Right.
right?
Right.
So that was given to install the confidence in the customer's heart that, look, we are talking of products made with our own engine, right? Every engine that goes today in truck and bus or construction equipment is our own engine, right? Our own R&D. So how do you install? So you need to go that extra bit and take that leap of faith to the customer. This is one. Second, any player like us who is a challenger brand, we will always face competition with the competition on the network side of it, right? So every customer will ask, आपकी वहाँ पे workshop अगर मेरी गाड़ी खराब होगी तो क्या होगा, etc. etc. So how do you do this? We came out again with two-pronged strategy. First, we gave a service guarantee to the customer.
Right.
You bring your truck. If in 36 hours I am not able to turn the truck outside the workshop, we will pay you reimbursement.
Right.
Off-road, if your truck goes, we will in 48 hours, we'll pay you reimbursement. This was one. The second part is what we realized as a learning also. There is no way we can match the competition on network, simply because network reach and network profitability, they go hand in hand.
Right.
Until the time that we will not have enough vehicle park on the road, etc., it has to make business sense for the network, right? There is no point just opening the network and they not making money, because eventually they will close down.
Right.
So how do you tackle that? You tackle that by doing the prognosis part through the IMAX part.
Right.
So you bring in a device, you prevent things to happen instead of fixing them when they actually break down.
Right.
So, and the same thing we are trying to do in construction equipment. So when BS3 to BS4 migration happened, we ensured that we are among the 2 or 3 players in a 12-player industry who were ready with their BS4. Right. And the same thing we're going to ensure now. In fact, many people are asking us that why would you want to sell your BS5 when the competition is still selling their BS4 at X lakh rupee lower price or so.
Right.
We look at it slightly different, because any migration of emission and this one is a major migration because it also comes with RPAS and other norms, etc.
Right.
The way we see it is that this will give us enough headroom to have seeded in our product, capture the product feedback, fix small tweaks here and there on the product before the game really heats up also.
Right.
So that's how, yes, we may lose in initially about a quarter or 2 quarter or so, but I think we are in this game for a long haul, not for a quarter or 2 quarters.
Right.
So some of the examples.
Right. Now, since you've gone deeper into CEV, before touching the TIV, I want to understand, you've tweaked your engines, as you said, for alternate performance cycles. So would you say that the engine portfolio is now consolidated, or has it expanded because of these multiple combinations?
I think it is not consolidated, certainly.
Right.
In fact, if you ask me, there are more options of nodes available on the engine.
Right.
So what we have done is that we had 3 main engine nodes. We had a 50 horsepower engine, we had a node of 74 horsepower, and we had a node of 91 horsepower.
Right.
These were the 3 nodes. In CEV5, 50 horsepower node goes to 55, 74 remains 74, 75.
Okay.
91 becomes 102.
Right.
So we have retained the nodes, but we have worked upon the engine to make them slightly higher, to have a higher torque. So for example, 74 horsepower engine will give about 16% higher torque in CEV5 as compared to
CV.
CEV4. The 100 horsepower engine will give about 10% higher torque as compared to 91 horsepower engine in CEV4. So we have done that. We are claiming that our engines will give the best fuel efficiency.
Right.
Is what I presented today also, that we will be given the higher. So look at it, higher torque engine, that's what the customer wants. Better fuel efficiency, that's what the customer wants. And it's the reliable 3.5 liter turbocharged engine which does the services on our tractor range also.
Right.
And by volume, we're the largest in the world, right?
Yes.
So a lot of reliability that has gone into this. This is one part in CEV5 that we are doing. The other important part that we are doing is that, and you would know that gathering customer feedback and implementing them on product is a job that everybody does, and we also.
Right.
So what we have done is we have clubbed some of these major improvements also along with CEV5.
Okay.
So the cabin that you see outside is a much bigger and a altogether new cabin than what we offer on CEV4.
Right.
So we are using the CEV5 as an opportunity to offer a bigger and more spacious cabin to the customer. The front look, we were told that maybe the customer is wanting a slightly different and a metallic look.
Okay.
So that's what we have also tweaked in. So these are, and there are some more improvement that we are working on. So when we finally launch our CEV5 in the market and introduce as selling, then it will be a combination of both emission changes as well as the customer feedback based improvement which we would have carried on the machine.
Right. Now, you mentioned a fantastic stat where you said CVs contribute an X amount to the overall commercial vehicle business. And there again, there is a bifurcation of graders contributing to your CV revenue stream and market share.
Yeah.
A word on that, please.
So, as far as Mahindra's is concerned, so about 16 to 18% of our volumes of whatever we sell is contributed by graders.
Okay.
And about 84% is contributed by backhoe loader.
Right.
As compared to the industry, if you see it, it's about so 1,000 of 50,000,
okay,
right? Which is about 2%. 2%.
Right.
2% is what is contributed in the industry by grader. So grader industry contribution is 2%. Ours is 16 to 17%.
Right.
So that's the
above
kind
the
of
industry average.
much above, and that's
right.
the reason our numbers are much high on graders, and we're doing well.
Right. You would also last year showcased after treatment solutions specifically for the 7.2 liter engine. A word on that. How that has come along.
So as I said in our yesterday's interaction, we have some distance to go on
right.
that particular front. But what we have now started focusing, and we have a stall displayed over here, is on the Recon business,
right.
on the 7.2 liter. So right now we are doing the engine block as the Recon, and there are plans to do even ECUs also, and we intend to scale up this business, because in the current scenario whereby the cost of the vehicle and the cost of the aggregate is becoming very, very high.
Right.
So post warranty, there are many customers who are wanting to take this reconditioned engine, reconditioned gearboxes, reconditioned, many of these things reconditioned and certified by the company.
Right.
So that's one area that will be our focus going forward.
Right. You also mentioned that the customer has evolved to an extent where earlier he used to never stress on mileage, at least in this segment.
In tippers.
Yeah, in the tipper segment. So how has that change impacted your strategy?
So 2-3 things that we have realized is that whether it is tippers or it is construction equipment, the customer is extremely particular about the vehicle uptime.
Right.
Extremely particular. So if there is a single thing, so the customer is willing to take some of the call on the upfront, discount, or he is even willing to try out new brands, as long as the customer is satisfied that the vehicle is going to remain uptime on the road.
Right.
And there also 2-3 factors they come into picture. One is the parts availability. Second is the skill set of the dealers, because at the end of the day, it is the dealer who
is the other touch point.
So the right diagnosis, which is a challenge for all of us. I will not say it is, and this is an industry. Why? Because the kind of emission change which has happened from 17.3 to 4, 24 to 6, 23 OBD1 to OBD2. The amount of electronics, the amount of upgradation that India has seen through in such a short span of time,
right?
The entire industry is also on a learning curve, right?
Right.
So even if we have caught up, to ensure that the entire channel down the line is also catching up as the learning curve is something that we are constantly working upon. So right diagnosis, availability of spare part, and that is the where the role of something like a IMEX becomes even more important.
Right.
How can you ensure that the prevention itself takes care of the breakdown? So these are some of the things customer is now very very particular about uptime, very very particular about mileage of the product, even in tipper segment.
Right.
Earlier the customer was very particular on the haulage segment, right? I mean, what's the mileage?
Yeah.
But now even something as tipper or even a construction equipment,
That's the big change over there.
that customer is so, and if you go deeper, there is a logic to this. The logic is in construction equipment, for example, you see we have become 3 to 4 and now 4 to 5.
Right.
But the rentals that the customer is getting for the machine, they have
That's
not moved.
That's not
They
scaled
have
up.
not moved, right? Whereas the cost of the machine has
gone
increased
up.
by 5 to 6%.
Right.
Now, if that does not happen and he has no control over there, and over here also beyond a point of manufacturer will recover some delta from the customer.
Those are inevitable.
The only thing he has in his hand is to cut down on the operating cost.
Right.
And that is where the uptime percentage of the machine, the mileage, all these things, they become very, very important.
Right, right. You also touched upon the Hiwa Connect. Hiwa has come into in the form of the Endura, the Blazo X2835. A word on.
So Hiwa has been our regular partner,
right,
and Hiwa commands a premium in the market
right,
in terms of the tipper bodybuilding. So we are offering Endura with a Hiwa body as well as non-Hiwa body. So if somebody wants to, and somebody is willing to pay a premium for Hiwa body, we will give the initial set of the launches and the initial introduction we will do with Hiwa, because we are also wanting to establish the brand. Once done, we will also offer a non-Hiwa body for a cheaper option if the customer wants to. But quite honestly, I mean, everybody else also have upped their game, but still Hiwa still commands the way. For example, Palfinger, they command a premium on the cranes, in India, like where Hiwa also commands this.
Right. Now, how has this year panned out on a YTD FY24 basis, both on the on-road as well as the off-highway segment? It's an elaborate question, but...
So I'll start with the truck and buses first.
Yes.
So in truck and buses, the industry's YTD has grown by 9%.
Right.
I mean, I'm talking about HCV, ICV, LCV and buses.
Right.
So it has grown by 9%. We have outpaced the industry. We have grown by 46%.
Right.
So we have, in the YTD in November, we have gained a market share by 1 percentage point. So we have done well there.
Right.
In case of construction equipment, we have grown here as well. We are the number one OE for the grader segment, as I said, 25.3%, and we are the fifth number 5 player as far as the backhoe is concerned, with a market share of 2.2%.
Right.
So this is where we are. The good part, which I feel happy for construction equipment, is that last year, as high as 25 to 30%, to be precise, 25 to 30% of the machines that we sold were sold in exports.
Right.
So as way forward in 2027, apart from increasing our domestic sales volume in construction equipment, we are looking at exports as also a very strong lever,
right,
which will contribute to our volume. And our aspiration is that 1 of every 3 machines that we sell, we should be selling outside India.
Right, and graders play a very important role in that.
Grader, backhoe, this Hall Master as a platform.
Right.
So for a total sale, 1 in 3 machine we have to be selling it outside. So that's the strategy.
Right. And in terms of an outlook for the Q4 of FY24 as well as the next fiscal, where do you see things panning out?
So for truck and buses, when the year began, we had anticipated that the TIV will cross the F19 level, which is 5.15 lakhs, which I don't think so. It seems to be happening.
Right.
So the TIV, I think we will be in the range of 9 to 10% growth as far as this year is concerned. However, next year we are definitely hopeful that the TIV will reach the FY19 mark. That's one. That's second.
Right.
Third, what we anticipate is that we see a clean run for the TIV till F27.
Okay.
So we are anticipating next three odd years it will have a clean run, and then the cyclicity will hit as far as the truck and buses is concerned.
Right.
We have a similar kind of a outlook as far as the F27 peak is concerned for construction equipment also. Construction equipment, the way we see is that this year it is growing, as I give you the stats. But next 1 or 2 years, the domestic industry, it may see a cooling effect because of the BS 5 norms.
Right, right.
Because of the high cost and price, every OE will pass in one way or the other over a period of time. Next 2 years, we see the TIV taking a dip, but it will be compensated by the exports. So in India, there was a time in 19 or so when exports used to be about 11. Now I'm talking of industry.
Right.
11 percent or 12% used to be the export contribution to the overall sale
Right.
of the total industry here.
Right.
We are anticipating it will be as high as 20 to 25% in 3 to 4 years.
That's a mega jump.
Yeah. Now, some part of the domestic cyclicity may be offset by the export increase in the volume as far as the number is concerned. But we are anticipating that F27 will hit the same volume as F19,
Okay.
which is about 47,000 of backhoe and about 1,100 of grader. So whatever the peak was in F19, so it will follow a kind of a, it will go down, it will go up. F27 will see a peak and it will match the F19.
Right. And what is your estimated CAGR? It's in the 5 to 7%?
5 odd percent in MTBD, in the truck and buses.
Right.
From F23 to F27, 3 to 4% in case of construction equipment, F23 to F27.
Right. Coming to the last leg of questions on the headwinds, in particular for the export market. I know you said that these introductions open up an opportunity. You like to be optimistic. So how are you balancing this act in terms of new product introductions opening up an opportunity, but globally there are headwinds?
So you're right. There are headwinds when it comes to truck and buses,
Right.
and not only for us, across the industry.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yes.
So when you see trucks beat any player, everybody is struggling.
It applies to all.
Yeah. So one can ask the question, why is it different for construction equipment? Why is construction equipment export? So maybe it's got to do with India emerging and the cost of manufacturing in India for a construction equipment, and the best and best of the world setting up their state-of-the-art factories over here in India and committing the investment and committing themselves for India to be becoming the export hub for the across the world. Now that is happening as compared to truck and buses.
Right.
In case of maybe truck and buses, this is my hypothesis, maybe everybody has got reasonably sufficient installed capacity in each part of the world so
Right.
as to cater to the same from those particular factories or so.
Right.
May not be so aggressive as far as the India originated product. That could be one of the possibilities.
Right. Are you working towards a capacity augmentation on the CEV side?
On MTB side, we don't have any plans.
Yes.
Because we are sufficiently covered.
Yeah.
On C, because of these 2-3 years cyclicity that will follow, we are covered for next 2-3 years. Beyond 2-3 years, yes, definitely we will be expanding.
And with this transition happening, are you seeing a pre-buying activity taking place?
Absolutely. There is nothing else explains construction equipment backhoe loaders, which was under stress, right, to be growing by 15 to 20% and graded going by 20 to 25%, whereas commercial vehicle industry is growing at 9 to 10%.
Right.
So, so this is a impact of
Clear sign
pre-buy.
of pre-buying.
Q4, we see this impact will further increase.
Right.
As far as construction equipment is concerned. And truck and bus, we are hoping that Q4 we will sail through.
Right. An outlook on the used market also. The used market is pretty big over here.
So whenever emission change happens, used market firms up.
Right. Right.
So the moment CEV5 comes, the used machines in the market and all, they will start firming up. What has not happened is it has not become still as organized as one would have wanted to. I'm talking of construction equipment.
Right.
It is still broker driven. It is still individual players driven also. We are trying to make an attempt. We have taken first step towards that direction under our brand name M Trust.
Right.
We hope to capitalize on this further. Truck and bus on the other hand, is slightly more mature and advanced when it comes to used vehicles. Right. There are organized portals which are in place. There are established players who deal in used vehicles, and that market is already firmed up with the introduction of OBD2.
Right.
But there also, unlike in cars, whereby the manufacturer launched their own program of buying back, either they buy back or the dealer buy back, we don't have anybody, and we don't see anybody, venturing into that zone.
Right. Okay. I am forced to end this conversation because I know you can go on. But thank you so much for crystal gazing for us. Thank you.
Thanks.